Welcome back to Shaun Vlog, and today I'm going to talk you through my favourite roller coasters at Alton Towers. So we're going to go in order, least favourite to favourite, of the thrill roller coasters. We're not going to talk about the children's ones. And what do you think is going to be my favourite roller coaster at Alton Towers? If you've watched some Alton Towers vlogs, you might already have an idea, but leave a comment down below what you think my favourite's going to be, and then at the end, see if you're right. But there isn't really a roller coaster that I don't like at Alton Towers. But my least favourite is probably Oblivion. Shock horror, I know, Oblivion. The first dive coaster in the world. But that's why it's my least favourite, because there are many other roller coasters at Alton Towers that are so much better. And after you've ridden Shikra at Busch Gardens, Oblivion's just tame. Really, that like the drop is very short. The ride is 30 seconds long, if that. I mean, it's fun for a bit of a whoosh. But yeah, it's because it's so short. If the drop was bigger, if it was longer, it would be much further up the lift, because I love Shikra, so if Oblivion was like that, it would be considerably higher. But yeah, Oblivion is my least favourite roller coaster at Alton Towers. Then we move on to my next least favourite, or my next favourite, which is Galactica, for very similar reasons as Oblivion. I've ridden Manta at SeaWorld, which is another flying coaster, but again Galactica, or Air before that, I think that was the first flying coaster around. But Manta is so much more fun. Like, when I ride Galactica now, there's no VR, so like the whole point of changing that name was a bit ridiculous. Well, just leave it as Air. You only changed a tiny bit of theming anyway, not that it was that themed. It could be a lot faster for me, and I do have a story about Air as well. So like one time a few years ago I was riding it, same thing happened in Oblivion on the same visit. I was riding Air, and it's a flying coaster, so you lie in like up and then you face down to the ground, and the restraint only clicked into the first notch, so there was loads of gap between me and the restraint, which meant when I was going around I really felt like I was going to fall out. It was terrifying. That's never happened since, but yeah, it was kind of scary. But for me, the reason why it's low down on the list is it's just too slow. If it was faster, that's what I want. It's still a good ride, but it's just not one of my favourites. So that's Galactica. Next up in the list is Rita.
Hold on tight, you must escape.
The Queen of Speed. Now, Rita would be higher up on the list if you merged Rita and Stealth at Thorpe Park together. That would be an immense roller coaster. Now, Rita is fast, but it is again a little bit rough now. But all it really is the launch. After that, it kind of fizzes away. The launch is what that ride is all about, which it needs to have consistency throughout the ride to keep it entertaining, rather than just one bit or one or two bits. So yeah, Rita's low down in my list. There's 9 roller coasters, because I always forget about Mine Train. And actually, I forgot about Mine Train when I wrote this list. It fits in this position. So my 6th favourite out of the 9, yeah. My 6th favourite roller coaster is the Mine Train. You go around it twice, winning already. And it actually is it's quite a bit of fun for a family-friendly, more kid-orientated roller coaster. And it gives me kind of a little bit of feels of Big Thunder Mountain. It's not as good, obviously. Mine Train, you get to go, it interacts with the rapids, which is always good fun as well. You can wave to people in the tunnel and things, so Mine Train would be my number 6. Now my number 5 is Spinball Whizzer. And I rode this when it was Sonic Spinball, and I've rode it when it's Spinball Whizzer and whatever other names it had in between. And it's just, I really, really enjoy this because it's funny. Because you're spinning and you're going up the hill backwards, or you don't know which way you're going to go. It's just a lot of fun, especially when you're riding it with friends. Just all that spinning around and the laughter and the giggles, and it feels fast as well. That makes Spinball Whizzer my number 5, just because it is so much fun. My number 4 is the Wicker Man. Now, Wicker Man for me was a little bit disappointing because it's their newest roller coaster, but it just felt like it hurts a little bit riding it. It just immediately, I didn't ride it until maybe a couple of months after it opened, and it had already gotten rough. And then we rode it again on the last trip, and again it was not the smoothest of roller coasters. Now the theming, when you're walking under the archway of the Wicker Man, when you're in that queue and you can smell the wood, all of that really gives it, when they've got the scare actors out front and when they have them in the queues, that adds to the theming and the music and the number of cars that are out there. And the pre-show, if the pre-show is running, it's so dark in there you just can't see, and they tell you don't walk into that barrier, well, don't put the barrier in if it's dark room. But anyway, all of that really adds to this ride. But the ride itself, it would be much higher up the list. It would probably be number 1 if it was smoother, and possibly a little bit longer, but definitely if it was smoother. However, it is still my 4th favourite, and it's still an awful lot of fun. So if you haven't ridden Wicker Man, you really need to go and ride Wicker Man. That's number 4. Number 3 is Nemesis. And considering it's one of the oldest roller coasters there, that's some good going for Nemesis. It's not that rough. It's had better days, of course, but it's such a fun, compact, inverted roller coaster. And I really do love an inverted roller coaster where you're just hanging from the track and your feet are dangling and you're flying all over. And they've done really, really well at Alton Towers with Nemesis to keep it so close to the ground, but you're still getting the speed and you're still getting the feeling on that ride. It is a lot of fun. Again, the music that you get in there as well, all of the blood, the alien, it's just fun. It's not my favourite Nemesis ride though, so watch out for that one. But Nemesis. My 2nd favourite roller coaster at Alton Towers, there's only 2 left. My 2nd favourite is 13, and that's probably a surprise to a lot of you, because it is a family roller coaster, really. But it's when you're going into the station, it's kind of spooky, it's kind of scary. I quite like it. It's through the forest, and you've got the music, and you've got props, and you've got the spookiness and the mysteriousness of what's going through the forest. And then you get on into the station, and you get on the ride, and then you go through the forest again. 13 is a lot of fun. You've got your first hill and drop, but obviously the best bit is the secret bit, when you go into the tunnel and then suddenly the track ends and you're like, where the track's ended, where am I going to go? And then you drop and go backwards, and then it ends. But that drop really gets you in the stomach. But not just that, the whole roller coaster itself is fun, and it's that drop was the inspiration for one of the parts of Hagrid's over at Universal. So what's not to love? And 13, I just find it fun. There isn't a part of the ride really that I don't really enjoy. It's just a lot of fun. Just don't blink at the gargoyles. Was that Doctor Who? So that's my number 2, which leaves my number 1 to be the Smiler, of course. 14 inversions. 14 inversions. It's just one inversion after another. And one of my favourite inversions is the very first one. So So the Smiler's meant to make you feel disoriented. So if you're standing in that queue for an hour, listening to that music, and you're like, whoa, you just go dizzy, and you're like, oh, this is driving me crazy. And then you get on the roller coaster, and you go straight into a loop, like a corkscrew inversion loop. And I always, every single time, even though I know it, I always feel when I come out of that first bit, I always feel like I'm on my side, but I'm not. I'm flat to go up the lift hill, but I always feel like I should be on my side because it just disorientates me. Then you've got all of the inversion. Halfway around, you've got that vertical lift hill where you're on your back, and I absolutely hate with a passion these lift hills where you're lying flat on your back, because you are flat like that, but I always feel like my head is here, my feet are here, that I'm tilting further back than flat. It's how it feels to me on those vertical lift hills. Luckily this one isn't a very high one, and because it's the whole roller coaster's in a bit of a hole in the ground, which is where the black hole roller coaster was before it, but it's in the ground to get some of that height and all of the loops. And considering it's in quite a compact space, 14 inversions, and it's just one after the other. So I really enjoy it. I come off the Smiler smiling. It is one of my favourite roller coasters in the UK and in the world. It is such a good roller coaster, and I can't wait to get back to Alton Towers and ride it again. So that is all of the roller coasters at Alton Towers ranked. Tell me what your favourite roller coaster at Alton Towers is. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, because it really helps me out. And subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed, because there's going to be loads more content like this, as well as all of the other fun stuff that we get up to. Keep making memories, everyone. I'll catch you later.